broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Can't keep my hands to myself.
I can't.
Help me. It's so hard.
I can't.
I did just touch your boobs.
Hey, everybody.
I did it so timidly because I was like, will Kelly accept my touching or will she feel uncomfortable? So it was like a gentle like pat, and then I laughed.
I don't know
Hey,
what
everybody. We're back.
Yes.
With AfterBuzz's SNL After Show. I'm your host, Kelly McInerney. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HollyWeirdo. Like us on YouTube. Follow us. All that stuff. Ronda Rousey was the host. Selena Gomez was the musical guest. Before we get into that, though, check out Everybody's Here.
Yay!
Hello, I'm Katie Wilbert, and as a robot to you, I will inform you that all my socials can be found at Katie Wilbert.
Nice.
With a sigh at the end of it. Sexual sigh. At Katie Wilbert. Top that, bitches.
Yeah, right? Yeah, we've got to work. I didn't touch your tits in the opening. I don't know. Does that help?
feel better.
Is that better for ratings?
Oh, what now?
Oh, no.
Now my tits haven't been touched.
No. This show will do very well. You guys can find me on social at Kim Crossman.
Hey, I'm Amy Maestri. You can find me on social at Amy Maestri.
Yeah. The gang's all back together.
We're all back and can't keep it's the song.
We can't keep our hands to ourselves.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Ronda Rousey hosted. What are your guys' overall thoughts of the episode? What did you think of the episode as a whole?
I think for an athlete host, I never go in with high expectations unless it's Peyton Manning. Mm-hmm. But I think they did a good job of writing to her with having some film stuff. And I mean, there was nothing crazy that they were making her do, no major stretches. And I thought she did okay for an athlete. I mean, it wasn't anything great, but she dove into the sketches, and I think she did well with what she was given. So I think it was an okay episode overall for me.
All right.
I actually, my thoughts on it was that it was consistently okay. I didn't feel like there were a bunch of sketches that I was like, oh, like last week I couldn't wait to talk about the Cats one or the Star Wars one, where I felt like this episode maybe didn't have those highs, but I also didn't feel like any of the sketches came in way under par for me. I thought that she slotted in nicely, like you said. This is so stupid, but I thought it was great to see her with all these different hairstyles. I was like, she looks great as a blonde. She looks great with brown hair. And I was like, that was kind of cool that they made an effort to kind of alter her look. I do feel like they kind of hit it over the head a little bit, like she fights and maybe... But then, of course, like, what else you can do? So if they didn't do that, we'd be going, but she can play this. So I didn't mind the episode. Yeah.
I, too, found it both consistent and enjoyable.
Well, I'm going to be the villain.
That's fine.
I thought
advocate.
the episode was very lazy. I'll get into reasons with certain sketches that they kind of reused and reuse a lot. I thought she was good, but they didn't use her at all. Like, a few sketches, she was just, like, there but not talking, you know? And I get it. Maybe she can't read or something. I don't know. Make her do
Kelly,
something.
You heard it here first.
She's a fighter,
Rousey
so she
can't
probably
read.
can't read.
Like, but she seemed like it didn't seem like that, you know? It seemed like she was committing to
She was
what
able
she
to
got.
read.
Yeah.
We confirmed that.
Yeah, but I think they could have used her more and did more things, and I had really not an expectation, because you're right, athletes are like, meh, But
We don't expect much from you, athletes.
Do your
Can they even read? We don't know. We don't have the facts.
When an athlete's on, we're like, they won't be able to read the cue cards, so we may as well just tell them, like, improvise.
I mean, she could have did a scene where she was yelling or something. And
Just yelling.
It's just
I'm
Ronda
Ronda Rousey. I can't read, but I can yell and punch.
Yeah.
So
I love you, Kelly.
Thanks.
That's very funny.
But we'll get to why. Let's start it off though. The cold open, probably one of the best sketches of the night. Maybe because it didn't include Ronda. I'm just kidding. That's not
Can't
true.
read.
Speaking of people who probably
Maybe it's
can't
because
read.
she's a woman.
Sarah Palin.
Yay.
Tina Fey's back as Palin.
Yes.
Wearing just the exact same outfit because I looked up the Iowa sketch. Palin actually in Iowa right after this. Same babbly nonsense, which is great.
Pew, 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 America.
It's great because like you don't really have to try writing for that character hard. You know, she just writes herself. And Daryl Hammond also guested as Trump. What did you guys think, Katie? What did you think?
I mean, it's just always a joy to watch. I don't know why I'm in this weird mood of like, you guys, let me just hold you all. I feel like that's
touching from the get-go.
Yeah, I think
You're
so.
like, I suddenly feel maternal.
yeah. But it's always a joy to watch Tina be Sarah, and I feel like she's having more fun with it now than ever, probably because there's no stakes in it for her other than to just be there and have fun and be this character everyone loves so much. So I feel like to start a show off from the get-go with Tina's Sarah Palin is like surefire. However, felt like the monologue from Trump was a bit odd. Just like his to camera about like, I don't know, she's kind of crazy. Oh, she's definitely crazier than I thought. Oh, like she's so nuts.
I
was
like
kinda
some
like,
of his one-liners. But
I thought the one-liners were funny, but I guess I felt like the device was strange because I feel like he would want her to be like, why would you hold a publicity event for someone who's endorsing you if you didn't want the endorsement, right? So yeah, I guess it probably just was for writers to say a bunch of jokes about Palin.
and to show Daryl more, because, you know, he's guesting.
I think it was just the monologue
Yes.
aspect that was disagreeing with Palin that I thought was strange in that sketch. I felt like we could have had two separate sketches maybe, but I don't know. I loved it, though. She's great.
I liked it too. I agree with Katie. I thought the dynamic there was off. I think it was like you've got these two crazy people. They should have just heightened each other's crazy, or he could have been feeding her stuff, and it kind of built a bit more. I felt like it kind of. I wanted to see more of a build, and then they kind of did this awkward hug, which was funny, but yeah. I feel like if they're for the same cause, they should have just been feeding each other's crazy rather than him playing this kind of she's weird, because he's weird. I don't know. Yeah, that would be my only note of like, I just didn't get that, and maybe the joke just didn't land for me, or something happened in the actual thing, or maybe Trump doesn't like her. I don't know, but I missed that joke.
Did it come out in the news or something that he's disagreeable?
Or did they just
No, I
choose
think
that
they're
for an
just
angle?
being like, he's just kind of a different type of crazy,
Okay.
and she's just like, wow, crazy. You know?
Got it.
He's
So
like,
even
Yeah.
crazy sees that she's crazy
Yeah.
is maybe the take.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Kim, that like it would have been good to like just see them both bring the crazy out of each other more. The only thing that I could get from like those kind of monologue moments from him, and I liked the earlier ones, and then it kind of trailed off for me. I was like, oh, this is too much, and I don't really totally understand it. But in the actual, like when she was endorsing him, he was just kind of standing in the background. You know how his face, you can never really tell like what his face is doing totally. Like he was kind of giving a lot of looks in the background during it, where I think it maybe could have been construed as like, shit, did I make a mistake with this crazy woman? I kind of compare it to like whenever Kanye West talks and Kim Kardashian is standing behind him.
it's good.
She's just as dumb and crazy, but, or, you know, maybe not if you're a fan of hers, but you know, it's like that thing of the two different kind of crazies, and someone just kind of looking like, oh God, this is the person that I'm with right now, and this is
my
what's
life
happening.
choice.
Yeah,
I
so
made this choice.
that's kind of the only thing I could draw from it. But I think, like you said, Kelly, the fact that they barely have to write for Palin because they can take so many things verbatim, which they did. Like, she did call out the rock and rollers in the crowd in Iowa. She also, there's a bunch of...
ISIS, too.
ISIS, yeah. We're gonna kick ISIS ass! She just went nuts in that thing. Like, so she
Was it a direct quote when she said, from my full-time career of writing things on Facebook? I hope that was a direct quote, because that was one of my favorite lines, because I'm like, that's so funny.
It could easily be. That's the fun part.
Wow.
Just never disappointing when Palin shows back up, you know?
Yeah.
The monologue, I thought this was a unique way to do a monologue versus the typical, like, jokey thing, singing thing. They're like, yeah, we know what kind of monologues are. Let's try it out, be it with rounds and stuff, and incorporate boxing. She apologized to the lady that she slapped. Good for, you know what?
Kudos.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good
And
for
she kept it short, like, and that's that, and we're gonna keep going with the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
very
that.
respectful, Rhonda.
Yeah. I like that Selena sang, I wish it was like a silly song, but that's
As
just...
opposed to a Selena song.
Yeah.
I hear ya.
I personally loved this monologue device. I thought that it's what a clever way, like, she's not on her own up there. That playing mention to the fact of say things and get the crowd going. Like, I don't know. I like it when they kind of break that fourth wall feel and bring it into a sketch. I like the Tinder joke. I love the cake joke. Yeah, I just thought it was a really, as opposed to last week when I had really high expectations and he kind of was just like, hey, I'm in a film Star Wars, and I really liked that this was funny. I was like, that's great. I did think it a little bit interesting that they chose to bring Kate McKinnon's character in on Selena's episode, and I wondered if that was like... Like, there was really no need for it other than the fact that Selena's in there. And I was like,
They even address, like, why? He's not even in the news right now. I don't know, because people love it.
And people do love it. And I love that she was in it. I just feel like if I was Selena, that would piss me. I don't know. I just feel like that's kind of like she's trying so hard to do her own thing aside from that.
I didn't even connect.
You didn't?
No.
And I don't know. Maybe she was cool
wonder,
with it. I just thought it was kind of a weird thing to do. It's like,
Yeah,
I wonder
I
if
don't know.
Selena finds the impression funny, though. Because it is, like,
and I'm sure
ridiculous.
she probably does. I just thought it was like a... I don't know.
I think
a little
she'd be
on the nose, but then maybe I was
or
viewing
maybe
it from a
even
certain lens.
subconsciously unintentional, and just that your musical guest is this person, which makes you associate this person, which makes you write this joke, like, without even... Like, have you ever been in a room with someone where you know something about them that you shouldn't say and you never otherwise would, and then for some reason you say this thing and you're like... Not my intention to bring up this disorder you have, and yet it's the only thing I can shout out.
Yeah. I don't think it was intentional because they didn't interact or anything. It was like it was a different round, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's just one of the characters, like when you think of SNL right now and characters, the big character, like everybody loves her Justin Bieber.
Yeah, I love watching it anytime, but I agree. At first I was like, ooh, that's weird. But then I also thought that they were going to take it and actually make it topical because a few months back, or maybe a while ago, there's that story about Ronda Rousey's sister who apparently approached Justin Bieber at after a concert or at autograph signing or something and asked for an autograph, and he was apparently a huge dick and was like, no, and then just like said something really douchebaggy and walked away.
Maybe it was playing on that.
I thought they were gonna, but then it didn't she hit him, but like
so many layers for why that joke happened, you guys. It was really in depth. Unlike last week's, the monologue just was very surface level, but this one went
It's had layers.
places.
Yeah.
Inception. It was very Inception-y. Like anytime we can use the word Inception, even in a false way. I love.
Thank you.
There it is.
I actually really liked this monologue, and I went to do the spinning top from Inception. I'm still there. I'm still Inceptified. New word. And I liked the announcers. I thought it was very energetic, and I feel like an opening monologue should be very energetic. And so it had all the things.
Yeah. So I think the first few cold open monologue, and then this next sketch, fucking murdered. Sorry, I didn't even realize I just loved this sketch. So the Screen Guild Awards.
Oh, good.
So on point. Like, it amazes me how a great sketch like this is well written and so smart and on point and current, and then the rest of it's like reusing old sketches and stuff.
Yeah.
It's it just makes fun of the Oscars picking all white actors and getting more and more retarded. What did you got, Kim? What do you think about it?
I love this. I thought the setup was great. I liked that it had 5 beats instead of just 3, so to really hone in on it, like to the point where Bobby just is like white guy with camera. And I say full credit to all the cast who did the acting in the scenes. Like, it really made them commit, which was cool to see too, because it was like them doing serious emotional scenes to really play the joke of like the white guy on the phone. But I thought this was great. Every new setup, every new title about like oppression, housing, whatever, Katie and I were just going, yes, like, I thought it was phenomenal. And I saw that this was one of the most shared videos that they've had in a 24-hour period since SNL has done it. So obviously people feel the same way.
Yeah, I believe it. I feel like it was just every aspect of it was just perfect. Like, whether you look at it from like a beat standpoint of having the 5 beats and the way they escalated all of those 5 beats, or just having it be topical and the acting within the actual segments, and then just the ending of having them all win, like it all just came together in it. And I think the reactions from like the black actors being there in the audience, like behind the white guy too, again, like the heightening there was just, it was really, really good. That was my favorite of the night, I think.
Yeah, definitely my favorite sketch. I feel like the perfect example of expanding an idea and heightening it at the same time, and just the small aspects of it, like Michael Che being in it and doing great acting. It was the small things that I think when put together made it just this extraordinary sketch that was poignant and so well executed. Mic drop.
One problem though I had with it, I don't understand why Rhonda couldn't have been Cecily. She wasn't in the sketch. She played Taryn's wife, if you notice. She was like sitting next to him in the thing.
Yes.
That's it.
That's true.
So I don't know why they couldn't. I understand why she wasn't in the scenes, because it was all African American essentially. But
do you think they consider for quick changes and stuff like that too? That maybe
but she was wearing the wig and everything.
That's what I was just thinking. But yeah, they went into a digital short after that, so it wouldn't have mattered, because I was thinking the same thing.
No excuse.
It's weird, but still a great sketch. Standalone sketch. The next one was the digital short Love Struck, basically playing on high school bullies, and also that she's an MMA fighter.
And how much did she look like Julia Stiles?
It reminded me of
no?
It reminded me in Austin Powers when he's like, "Why won't you die?" Like that was like what I kept saying in my head. Like, she's like, "I'm fine." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's like that. Why won't you die?" Dude?
I liked that Vanessa Bayer plays a good mean girl. You know, she's usually like the nerdy kid or like the Jewish little boy. She killed it.
What a range.
She's usually nerdy kid or Jewish boy. They really good singing
girl.
Or mom whose husband is real dumb.
Yeah. Bullies against martial arts.
Amy, what'd you think of the digital short?
I really liked it. I think that they hit on a lot of really great, like, kind of 90s movies stereotypes. Beck, the way that he was delivering his lines of, like, the dumb boyfriend who's just like, I'm going along for the ride, and then in the end he's like, oh, do you want to hang?
Chad,
like,
Shannon.
Yeah.
Great.
So I think between that and Vanessa's beats after she would get hit and be like, bravo.
Yes.
And then just get hit again in the face, like, because that mean girl always does that, like, kind of snarky thing after, and it always comes off so stupid. So, like, I think that, like, as far as, like, this being a farce on those, I really liked it. I thought it was good.
Nice use of the word farce.
I try.
Yeah.
Thank you for noticing.
And that's kind of where the episode lost me, you know? Okay. From then on, it was like...
dear.
The rest of the... I don't know about you guys, but I guess there was one other sketch that I liked. But Bland Man, parody of The Bachelor, because we haven't seen enough Bachelor parodies. Do you know what I'm saying?
Especially because we already did at least one this season. Then had the farm one.
Do any of you guys watch The Bachelor? Or
we watched Bachelor in Paradise, and it was the first one we'd ever watched because it was on Hulu, and we were like, yeah, and it's honestly a great suspension of belief in that you're like at home just enjoying other people's drama for a second and you can forget about your own and you feel like a superior human and you get involved in the drama, but not enough to where anyone's involving you in it. So I understand why people really like it. I think it was also different too because it was like multiple couples, so it was less of that weird like one guy 30 girls pining for someone's attention and more like people would go on it was like coupled up, so it seemed less kind of patriarchal and terrible.
Yeah.
Fair.
Hashtag feminism.
So what did you like the sketch? Like,
I
What'd you
thought
think
that
about-
I felt like this sketch and the superhero sketch were like just an excuse to like see everyone on stage
Yeah.
do a couple of lines, and I just don't know if that was the best way to make it funny. I did like in the sketch the specifics of the dates. That's probably the only thing that really got me, like in a hot air balloon with the cast of Chicago Fire, like, which I thought was really funny, or in a race car to an improv class. Like those things are funny. But then I feel like both this and we can come back around to the superhero one, but it's just like get everyone on stage a couple of times. I'm like, what's the gag at the end? And then it's just like, oh, I'm Selena. It's like, okay.
nobody applauded when Selena came out either, which I thought was weird. Like, no audience. They were just like, oh. Like, usually when the musical guest, I feel like when they're usually in sketches, they're like, ah!
Yeah, I'm not sure if they even noticed, because they might have kind of been...
They're changing so much.
Right, they probably saw her.
Because there was about, I think I counted, it was like 15 or 16 different times that someone sat there.
Yeah.
So...
I just think, reusing that kind of same idea. And also, my expectations, I went into it completely different because I thought it was going to be more a joke on The Bachelor just being boring.
Yeah.
And so they did that with his commentary. And I agree with you, all the lines, like, of the specific dates that they were doing was probably my favorite thing. But I thought it was going to be more of that, like, I'm a very boring guy, but it turned into more of, like, it turned into a lot of things.
It was too
It
much.
didn't really have a direct focus.
Didn't even heighten, really.
Well, no, it's called Bland Man. I feel like all they had to do was stay in that world and not cross over into the game of, I like this, the multiple games of then the, which I thought were funny too, the specific dates, but like that could be a separate game. The girls returning, doing the giggle stuff, like it was so much.
There were a lot of sketches in this
It would have been
sketch, I
so
feel
funny
like.
to watch Taryn be the most boring guy. I feel like there was so
and
much.
have none of the girls be into him or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
like
that's
there
kind of
was
what I was waiting for. That's
so
what I was
much
expecting.
there that I feel like you could have plucked from that one seed and it just wasn't harvested.
Yeah.
One thing, hey guys, Zach in the booth.
Yeah,
I
Zach,
found
who watched the show too. Yay.
I did. I found it hilarious because literally last week, whenever we had the Bachelor show here at AfterBuzz, one of the hosts was telling me about the "Can I steal you for a second?" as like a thing that is just said constantly on that show.
Right.
So it was in the air. I'm curious.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they just playing on that, like steal you for a second. Yeah, I guess.
We did just watch a show at the Groundlings where they did that sketch, but I felt like they stayed with that game. It was just constantly, "Can I steal you for a second?" And then the girls either being very sympathetic, like, I have a, like, I have a disease or something, and then I have a big toe, or like, that was this one. But I'm confusing all my sketches now. But I felt like at the Groundlings, they stayed with one game and it heightened in a really funny way, and they were in sumo costumes, which also helped. But it's definitely topical for sure. But I think, based on what we're hearing, like, it's been done, so you have to find a new way. I feel like the boring
but they
guy
had
I
it, and
haven't
then they
seen.
deterred from it.
Yeah.
I guess it did work in that we're like, oh, God, this is enough. Bland man, like, no more.
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Yeah. No, yeah.
I see where you went. I see where your brain went.
I will make a special mention. There was a line that was like, I was on this season of The Bachelor. Like, what are you doing now? And now I just intend on doing club appearances for the rest of my life. I'm like, that's funny because that's what the casts of The Bachelor and Bachelorette do. They just go and do club appearances.
Yeah.
Funny because it's true.
Yeah.
I did like Selena's line, too, about how, like, she was conceived the second season of The Bachelor.
Oh, yes.
Funny.
And she was great.
Yeah.
She played normal. It was like, oh, nice. Yeah.
Speaking
People thought she was a cast member.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Selena, she was next. And she did the,
Can't keep my hands to myself.
or I just want to
the
look
first
good for
one
you.
was
The first one.
For ya.
all the guys
For ya.
snapping around her in a circle.
Yeah.
I felt like they did a really good job of making different dynamic stage pictures, and I feel like for someone like Selena, it's very appropriate because I feel like you would go to her concert and expect cool stages and theatrics and stuff, and I think it can be disappointing if you are really excited to see someone perform and just it's kind of a boring set. But I loved it. I loved it that they had the guys snapping and just, it was kind of strange, but in a cool way that you're like, I'm engaged. I want to know what's going to happen. Are they going to dance or whatever? Felt the same way about her second song, Can't Keep My Hands to Myself. It was like racy because it's like a threesome and a silky, very comfortable looking bed.
No feet either. No shoes.
I love that. Yeah,
She had no feet.
she took off her feet for the second one. But I felt like it was really cool to see them actually put some stuff on the stage and make it look different. And I feel like most artists don't really do that. And I wish they would do more of that.
I agree. I think, it's really cool seeing her command that stage and like command your attention, and I feel like her stage presence is amazing. I thought her voice sounded great. I love that she mixed it up, and I just think it was a really solid performance, both of them, and we watched them the whole way through, and I think that's credit too, is like, that whole like commanding your attention, keeping it fresh, keeping it moving around. And I wrote that the composition was interesting too, like mixing it up a bit, so you're like, oh, it's different, it's intentional, it's for this, it's not just her singing.
She did a second of acapella as they snapped into it, because it was just the guys snapping and her, which I think is so nice when you get to hear someone really sing no music behind them and you appreciate them as an artist that much more.
And she looked hot too. I'm like, damn.
I love that dress. Yeah, the first dress.
Just keeping her leg there. I was like, oh girl.
She was working it, and that's actually, I wrote down too, like the arrangements on the first one. Yeah. And then just the staging and like having it be like theatrical, and you could tell she was just enjoying herself too. Like she was having a great time, and I love whenever you can see a performer just like really enjoying what they're doing, and you could see it even more when she ended the second song and literally just giggled in the bed for like 10 seconds. I was like, that's my favorite part of the episode so far, I think.
Surreal moment for her being at SNL. Like,
that's
so
a big
cool
thing
to see.
Yeah.
And we know that she's a big fan of the show too, so not of our show. Well, she might be, but of SNL, and it was a big deal for her to be there. So that's super cool.
That's awesome.
I got sidetracked. See, I kind of like. I thought the snapping was good in the beginning, but then I just kept like looking around, and I looked at like the guys and stuff, and I saw like the guy in the corner. He seemed really bored, and then there was like a smirking guy in the back, which I kind of liked that. Because
Zach's
like it looks like
Zach's pulled it up for us, because I know that he thought it was hilarious. He's like, "There's a guy laughing."
Yeah,
he's
at least he's into
like,
it.
This is
silly.
great.
Yeah. I don't know, but good for her.
Maybe the whole time he was like, "But I see her butt."
Yeah.
Every guy is just like, how do I get that job where I just stand and sit on stage and stare at Selena Gomez's ass during a performance?
He's like, I'm winning life. He's a life lottery winner, that guy.
And then up next, Weekend Update. Probably my least favorite Weekend Update of the season so far. I don't know about you guys, but nothing was funny. I guess some of the jokes were, but the guests are like my two least favorites. Or like Leslie used to be funny, and now it's just like, I'm Leslie, I'm gonna tell you a crazy story, and I hope you like it. You know,
I did enjoy it though. Like, I know it's the same thing over and over again, but I really enjoyed it.
It's like, okay, I'm gonna talk for 5 minutes about how I'm gonna get James Franco. And I'm gonna make him probably. I don't eat meat, so I'll make him like a tuna
Maybe
fish.
I connect with her because of our equal amount of love for Colin Jost.
That's probably what it is.
See,
because I love Colin Jost too. It's not fair.
I don't know, you guys. Maybe I love him more than you do, because when I watch Leslie hit on him, I'm like, that's something I'm gonna say to him in person. I'm gonna call him a delicious blizzard. And then I'm going to snowplow him, and I'm going to say it just like I'm a child, just like right now, and it will be very attractive and endearing.
Well, speaking of, like, the jealousy that's, like, fuming out of you right now. That's, I think, the only thing that I liked about that was that, like, when he was like, oh, what, and just would ask, like, a normal question, she's like, oh, now that I'm, like, dating Leonardo DiCaprio, like, that kind of jealousy thing was really the only thing that I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of fun because it's different. But I agree, it's just, it's too much. How many times has she done it now? Like, 180
more. Like she's been in this than more sketches.
To her defense, can we not all agree that the line "while you're in the bathroom washing your junk in the sink" is the funniest thing that she's ever said.
I feel like there were
that
so
line
many.
shocked me, and I was like, that's so funny.
I feel like there were a lot of dick jokes in this Weekend Update, and I feel like they're getting more and more kind of edgy with how far they can go with like talking about penises and stuff. That's my barometer of like how much dick do we have in an episode, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I like that you're actually doing hand movements right now as you're talking about
At home, pause the screen when you're happy and satisfied with
And the friend who said it's not that bad.
Nah.
Meh. Yeah.
Poor guys. Like,
You know?
I wished it was funnier for him being outside.
I know.
Yeah.
I hope Bobby was the one who came up with it. Otherwise, I feel like he got a real raw deal on this
Sweetie,
one.
it wasn't worth it.
Or someone hates him. They're like, last week we're going to throw you into a wall. This week we're going to put you outside. Like,
He pissed Lorne off. And
he's just doing all this shit things.
And then Willie, who I just zoned out because I was like, I hate when this guy's here. So if you guys have any input.
I wrote down, I like his tie, and I'm glad it was short.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So,
My
That was a
favorite
very
part
nice
of
compliment, Amy.
Yeah.
pretty much the nicest I get for Willie.
Yeah. Can't stand him.
I mean, the immature person in me just loved Weekend Update because there was a story about a lady who was going to have a cat ranch, but this is information I could have gotten outside of this show. So.
I liked the Trump jokes. They had a segment, a sequence of Trump jokes that I really liked. And Colin's one joke.
What did he say, Katie? You tell us what he said.
So Colin said, he was like, it's National Compliment Day. And then he was like, Dad.
I wrote that down.
And
That
it
was a great one.
It was great.
I thought I did.
That and I think it was actually
yeah.
the first one of the night. It was a Colin joke as well when he was saying that like Palin, the way he worded it, just saying that when she said all the words she knew in a random order, and I was like, that is the best description of Sarah Palin speaking I have ever heard in my life. so
true.
on point.
I also liked the joke about Lorne Michaels because, like a lot of my family and friends are in New Jersey and New York, and they're like, wasn't that like there's a transportation ban? Like you couldn't use your car or anything. Like how'd they get there? And like Lorne was like, you gotta come to work still. The very first joke he said, but
even Michael Che's Instagram was hoping my boss sees this and we don't have to go. It was like all these Instagram posts about not wanting to go to work because it's a snow day. So he got it.
Che's the one that said it actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
He'd been stewing on it all day. I'd been following him like, I think maybe he doesn't want to be there. I don't know, just a thick guess.
But the jokes were okay. The guests, meh. Anyway.
I think
Right?
agreed on that.
Moving on. This one I've got to talk about. Yes. I looked this up. I was like, wait.
We watched it because we talked about it before, Yeah.
The Three's a Crime. I was like, this sounds and looks very familiar. Looked it up not even a year ago. April 2015 with Taraji B. Henson. It's just the same sketch, except this time there's two teachers who, like, they don't even really talk about the two teachers that much,
or defend themselves or anything. They're just like, he's so nerdy.
Rhonda barely speaks. In Taraji's sketch, she's the lawyer. She's Taryn Killam. And I don't understand why she couldn't have played
it's
that
all the
role.
brain problems and she can't
She can't read. I think. Thank you. I'm glad we were there.
I don't know. It was funny. Like the elevation of the game of him being like, I enjoyed it very much. I sent this gif of a bird exiting the room quickly. Like the specifics that they used to heighten the game of him obviously being stoked he had a threesome with two teachers was fun, but we'd seen it.
I mean, sure, you could keep making jokes about the same sketch over and over, and it could be like hours long, you know, but like...
We could have
the same
been there
stuff.
for hours with just two teachers being like...
I also feel like at the beginning, they showed Kate, who's the mother, who's angry. Like, cut back to Kate. Why don't we cut back to her? If she's this irate mother that's causing all of this. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I immediately laughed when they showed Kate, and then I was like, oh, that's right, where'd she go?
Yeah. It's crazy, too, because it's the same character names, too. They didn't even try. They're like, yeah, we know. We know that this is a repeat. Oops, our bet. You know,
What a weird choice. How does that get through? Like, they would have so many sketches in the pile, and how does that one...
Throughout the week, they're just like, New York's going to be under, like, 20 feet of snow. We're not going to have this show. Let's just toss up some old sketches.
Maybe, maybe you're right.
Because Settle, the app
Same,
they reused that
The
at the
digital
end.
short for the dating app was a repeat too.
Yeah.
And just lots of repeat characters and stuff.
Yeah, I think the only thing that really saved this for me was, and I still don't think it was a good sketch, but Pete. Like his just delivery on the lines, and I think some of his lines were well written. But I think his delivery on everything, just being like super stoked, and like that kid is just like, and the descriptions that he gave, I think were very specific. So I think those moments were really the only good ones for me. And this.
Agreed.
And then Metro City 2016, the Super Crew. Kim, you dabbled on this in the beginning.
I mean, unless anyone has any opposing views, I felt it was just another excuse to kind of show.
It was a sort of poorly done pylon scene.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
On to the next one. Gotta D so big.
I really liked this.
I like this one too, yeah. Why'd you like it, Ken?
I liked the fact that take off my pants, I've got another pair of pants.
I wrote that line, yeah.
I mean, I mean, also, I'm a Kiwi, come from Flight of the Conchords. Like, this kind of stuff is... I love it. I love... we've just been watching My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. It was called My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Like, and watching a lot of comedic songs. I loved it. I love the specifics. And, yeah, mine leans to the left like the Tower of Pizza. I thought this was brilliant. I laughed a lot.
Yeah.
Also, I'm an easy laugh, so like a dick joke, I'm like,
Me too.
hilarious.
Especially a song about
I'll go
dicks.
down on you. I'll go.
Oh yeah, whatever. I'll just go down on you.
I have a small penis. I'll just go down on you. So funny. So yeah, I mean, I can't fault this. I thought the timing was great. I thought the song was great.
Yeah, I loved it, and I think that I'm really a fan of anything like this that immediately you know what the game is, and then they actually deliver on it.
Yeah.
Because like we were saying, like with Bland Man, you're like, oh, I see the game. No? Okay, no, it's a different game.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a different game now. Like, the second you had that lead up, and then Beck opened his mouth, you're like, okay, I get it. And then it turns into a song, and they deliver on that premise throughout the entire song, and I was like, perfect. I love whenever they do that.
Yeah.
I liked too that they were good rappers.
Yeah.
They had some talent.
Yeah.
Taryn and Jay.
I would love
Breaking
to
it
see
down.
them do more of that.
I think Jay had a song released like a few years ago, just
Okay,
like a
Jay.
funny rap song.
Great.
Like look into that.
I really love musical comedy.
Me too.
And we've been investigating Rachel Bloom after she won her Golden Globe for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Do yourself a favor and go look up Rachel Bloom, I Steal Pets. It is... Have you seen it?
Nope.
Maybe the funniest, I steal pet.
I steal pets from the popular people and then dress their pets up like the popular people. It's like so
I
crazy.
steal pets from the other people, and I keep them in a shed.
Yeah, it's
and
like
it's her with pets dressed up. It's so I couldn't
so
breathe. It's so funny.
wackadoo.
Wanting to look it up right now.
It's like no one else could have thought of that except for her.
Yeah.
And anyone who hasn't watched My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, maybe you're not like... I don't watch a lot of shows on the CW. I just have thought like...
I don't watch any.
Yeah, but it's like edgy and fun, and her music videos are like so great. Yeah.
She's, and well, I mean, that got shopped around a lot too. It got rejected by a lot of networks and stuff. So I think it just kind of like fell into the laps of CW, and they were smart enough to be like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it totally
her,
works.
too.
Yeah.
this is great.
But back to SNL.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. You
Rein us in.
steer that train home.
Good to know, but anyways. Citizens Forum, another repeat, different jokes, same characters. Really liked Kate's Irish accent. I think that's a new one.
Old Irish
props to
lady.
She
that.
took a Rockstar energy drink and she got a nest of wasps and threw them into a Zumba class.
So
That
funny.
is really funny.
Her going, and I said, I am the nightmare.
Yeah. I think I would have been okay with just listening to that character talk for 5
yeah.
minutes
Yeah.
rather than have the sketch in there. Just let her
Make
talk
a
for
sketch
5
about
minutes.
her.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would love to see that.
Party invite thing. This was actually, I think, the one sketch where Ronda Rousey had a lot of dialogue.
Gave her words.
Yeah, lots. She was a straight man, but and it was not that good of a sketch. But good for
I
her.
liked the game. I like these characters. I feel like they're a great example of two peas in a pod, of just two guys who are just like kind of... I love the game of, oh, actually that's better for us.
Yeah, that
It's so dumb. But I don't know. I like their specifics. I wrote down, Oh, that's good, because I'm actually scared at 3 a.m.
Yes, I wrote that
too. And, oh, cool, yeah, so we'll bring, like, a bucket. Like, they're weird things they want to bring. Buckets, dogs, towels, shredded towels. And him being like, oh, thanks, Obama. Anytime anyone says, oh, thanks, Obama, I die. So, I actually really like them. I felt like we could have given Rhonda something more to do, but then she's a straight man, so what can you do? Mm-hmm. So I enjoyed it.
I think these characters are at their best when they do bring in the specifics, like the line that you were saying and everything, but then also when they misconstrue an idea. That's always funny to me when someone takes it, like when she was just like, oh, not your first rodeo, and he's just like, oh, so one way or another there's gonna be clowns. Like, when they take something and then just go in the opposite direction. I think that's when those characters are at their funniest too.
Oh, bring dogs. Don't bring dogs to my house.
Oh, that's so thoughtful. She's already got dogs.
It just reminded me of the brothers that I think it was Chris Parnell and
the guys who are always
with the
getting arrested or something.
No, they had curly brown hair. I think it's Chris Parnell and Jimmy Fallon trying to like hit on girl.
Yeah.
Like
I think the one I'm remembering is they're being arrested and they're hitting on a cop. And they're like being weird and giggly.
Maybe.
Like they've been drinking or something.
Because they do laugh a lot.
Yeah.
They just like...
I like them together. I feel like I could
it.
see them doing this again somewhere else, like in any premise. But
have they done... It's one of those things that I'm like, have they done this already?
It sounded familiar, like Kyle's voice. I don't know if maybe he's just done a similar character voice another time.
I don't feel like it's memorable to me. I feel like his voice is memorable, but not these characters. But then I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe in a different situation.
Maybe it's a good neighbor thing they've been trying to push for ages.
Maybe,
I always wonder about that when they're in any sketch together. I always secretly hope it's something they've wanted to do pre-SNL and finally get to.
Yeah.
And then we had Settle, which was a repeat, and that was it. So, overall, meh. But we have to pick an MVP. So, Amy, MVP.
I'm gonna go with Beck on this one. I thought he was great in the rapping digital short. Like I said, his lines, the way he delivered everything in the Bully MMA one, mostly taped stuff from him this week. But I think everything he was in, he brought a lot to it. So I'm going with Beck.
I'm gonna go Vanessa Bayer because I feel like she added a lot of value and we got to see her do a lot of different characters this episode. I will make special mention, as always, to Kate McKinnon because someone who didn't shine. I feel like every time the camera was on her, whether it was for a second, you want to see more of it. But yeah, it's mine.
Beck is mine as well because I feel like, he was just this shiny little beacon in all of his scenes. He's like a lighthouse bringing in the ships.
Beck House.
He's a Beck House.
There you go.
It's getting late for Katie.
It's in the evening. So
What about
late.
you, Kelly?
Yeah, I think Beck. I was going to say Kate, but I forgot about the dick rap. Because I like Kate's Irish accent.
Yeah. Oh, that lady was so good.
Yeah, but Beck did bring it. Beck brought it. BB.
Beck House bought it.
BB.
Bringing down the house. I was going to make a pun and then I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
Just didn't happen.
Well, I think SNL might be off next week, and I believe the next host is Larry David sometime soon.
Educated
Which
guesses.
is funny because he used to write for SNL. We talked about it when we did the
I'm so
Bernie.
excited for more Bernie.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be great. Until then, though, make sure to subscribe, like us, all that stuff. Do
Just
the
like us
iTunes
in
bits.
general. If you could like us.
Like me.
I'll be in for
Where can they find you on the internet and everything?
On the internets, you can find me at Amy Maestri.
You can find me at Kim Crossman.
You can find me at Katie Wilbert.
And you can find me, Kelly McInerney, at Holly Weirdo. And we'll see you next time.
Woo!
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.